talk about New York Democrats and their redistricting history over the last couple years. New York Democrats really dropped the ball on the last redistricting effort. If we rewind the clock to 2014, in New York, the Democrats and Republicans came together through a constitutional amendment that required a once per decade independent process for redistricting that bars mid-cycle map changes and takes the partisanship away from the politicians. This was part of a good government change that Democrats and some Republicans across the country really pushed for. After the 2020 census, New York lost one congressional seat. We went from 27 to 26 seats because of population changes. And the Independent Redistricting Commission, or the IRC, failed to agree on a congressional map. The Independent Commission was deadlocked and they didn't produce a map. The Democratic-controlled legislature instead passed its own partisan map that gerrymandered too much. The Democrats in Albany tried to ram through this partisan map. They were overly aggressive. And in April of 2022, the New York Court of Appeals rejected that gerrymandered map. People called it the Hochulmander. The court, and as a result, a court-appointed special master was appointed in order to draw an interim map until the legislature and the Independent Redistricting Commission could produce a new map. Under the court-drawn lines of 2022, Republicans flipped 3 seats. Now, it's unclear whether the new map changed those seats or politics changed those seats, but we had George Santos, Mike Lawler, and Brandon Williams all flipping their seats towards the Republicans, leaving the New York delegation split 15 Democrats to 11 Republicans. And that swing certainly contributed to the Republicans taking back the House nationally. In December 2023, the Court of Appeals ruled that the special master was only a temporary move and that really it's on the IRC to create a permanent map for this decade. Instead, the legislature rejected the IRC maps and passed its own in February of 2024, signed by Governor Hochul, and that map shifted the 3rd, 18th, and 22nd districts more Democratic, while the 1st district tilted more towards the Republican. The 1st district is out on Suffolk County. It was immediately criticized, obviously, by Republicans as being a partisan move. And in early 2025, the New York delegation now stands at 19 Democrats, the 7 Republicans over the 26 districts that we have. In that, we have several swing districts. We have New York 3rd on Long Island, held by Tom Suozzi. We have New York 18, held by Democrat Pat Ryan. We have New York 17, 19, and 22nd. These are all swing districts in the latest elections, and the fate of these districts is really beholden to the redistricting process. The reason for all of this is that the reason why we're discussing it now is that leading Democratic states like New York, California, and Illinois are all discussing temporary retaliatory measures to counter the Donald Trump and Republican mid-decade redistricting in Texas. They want to redistrict their states in order to counter the supposed gains that Texas Republicans will face in the coming election. In New York, Democrats are seriously considering a state constitutional amendment that would permit a mid-cycle congressional redistrict that would affect a lot of these swing districts.